So for my project I chose the theme of narrative, and then within that decided to look at film noir because there's a lot of narrative in the imagery used in film noir, in the film stills as well, and it's just iconic and beautiful. My idea was to create like a promotional package for a fake film, so a poster, a trailer, and then the film stills to go along with it. So I started by looking at Laura, which is a film noir film from 1944. So we've got the poster and we've got some of the film stills here. What we see in the film stills is lots of use of shadows and lighting. We've got strong flash coming across her face, smoothing out the skin, getting rid of any blemishes, and also like providing contours on her face to make her more visually striking to the viewer, making the viewer want to know the story of the character, wanting to know about this woman. And then styling as well would be important for the work that I'm doing, so took note of how she's got these big curls in her hair, dark lips, wide brimmed hats, all of that. And then there's small promotional stills that had both her and Dana Andrews, the male protagonist, in them. The lighting is chiaroscuro lighting, which I've looked at a lot through this project because it comes up a lot in film noir, in the films and the stills. It's this harsh light that we see that's coming across her face, hiding parts of the face, revealing other parts. We've got this, it's like, comes in from the side. It's really good at adding dramatic tension and uneasy feel, and just overall emphasising the narrative of the images. So I wrote a list of everything that I would need to include in my imagery, things that would make it feel very film noir, ready for shooting. And I decided to shoot on film, because original film noir would have all been done on film, so it makes sense to then use film myself. I found this film, which is the Phantom 8 by Lomography. They say themselves on their website it's been designed to replicate the look of film noir classics, so it seems like the perfect film to use, really. It's got an ISO of 8, so the grain's going to be really fine and the contrast is going to be high, but it's going to struggle to pick up light, so I realised I'd have to pay attention to the lighting that I used. So I took a external flash with me on my location shoot for my femme fatale stills, and yeah, shot on the film. I used props for the shoot. I've got sunglasses, we've got a toy gun, we've got cigarettes, all of that. I got some nice strong shadows coming in, and overall I think that the film came out beautifully, and I'm quite pleased with a lot of the images that I got from that shoot. This is just an example of some of the editing that I did. I've used Liquify to slightly give her a more perfect Hollywood look. Just brought back some detail in the face that was lost due to the flash. I've blackened out the background so it looks light, and then I've added in the cigarette smoke because she doesn't actually smoke, so we can use a real cigarette. And then here's a couple others where I think that the narrative really came through strongly to give a convincing character. For the trailer I wanted to also do this on film, so I found the Lomo Kino, which is a camera that lets you shoot moving image on 35mm. It shoots continuously by turning the handle and breaks down the film, as you can see, into several smaller frames that can then all be scanned in and put together, and then here's just a section of scanning from my negatives that I developed. I didn't manage to actually make the film because of lockdown, meaning I couldn't get into uni to edit it together using After Effects after Christmas, and I don't have enough space on my laptop to download it myself, so I couldn't do that at home. But I used the app OSnap to just take a little look and see if it would have worked as a moving image, and it would have. I just didn't manage to do it. So for my male protagonist, I looked at the Maltese Falcon, Humphrey Bogart, who was a very well-known film noir actor. So these were my inspiration images for that shoot, and then these are the decent images that I scanned in. I don't think it was as strong a shoot as the previous one, but it's important to have your male protagonist because without a man there is no femme fatale. And then again, editing just brought back some detail that was lost because of the flash for the film, and then there's a couple other photos. So then I looked at Ned Scott. He was a Hollywood stills photographer in the 40s. He shot a lot of the major movies, worked with a lot of the classic actors at the time. These are photos of Betty Field and Janice Carter. What I really like about his photos is how he gets lots of shapes and his use of form and shadows to create a lot of interest in the image, really making it memorable and striking, and just gives it a bit something else. And then also how believable his characters are. He got the actors to like talk in character, looking away from the camera, and then just before he took the shot they would turn to the camera, so he was really capturing the character and not just the actors pretending to be the character, which makes them feel more authentic and believable. I thought that was interesting. So then I did a third shoot, bringing my male and female protagonists together, tying in everything that I'd looked at this far, really getting some dark, harsh, moody lighting. I feel like these ones remind me a lot of the film stills from Laura, so I was pleased with the outcome of these, and these are some of the ones that I liked, particularly this one. So Cindy Sherman was worth looking at because she did what I'm doing. Her Untitled Film Stills project was producing images that were meant to look like film stills, but there wasn't a film that they were from. They were just standalone images, which is what I'm doing, so it was worth looking at her. The way that she did it though was that she did self-portraits, so I thought it would be interesting for me to try and do some self-portraits as well. So I looked at Gilda for the character that I was going to create with myself. So there's the stills from Gilda, which were also shot by Ned Scott. And then I set up a sort of mini studio in my house. I had a flash directed at houseplant to cast some shadows onto the wall to bring in the use of shadows that we saw in Ned Scott's work, and then had another light directed at me to keep me illuminated. I curled my hair, dug out this vintage dress to wear for it, and did the shoot. I had my friend press the button for me, but I set everything else up. And yeah, these are shot on digital because the film didn't come out, but I did digital backups just to make sure that I got something. And then these were the photos from the shoot that I liked, which I think it was quite a successful shoot. I feel like I really tied in all of the themes that I was looking at and created a believable character because, I mean, I don't look at these images and see myself, I see the character that I portrayed. And then, even though I couldn't make the trailer, I still wanted to make a poster, so these are just some of the inspiration posters that I looked at, and then I started trying to produce that by sort of creating a digital collage of parts of the photos that I'd shot already, just messing around a bit, trying out some different ideas, and then settling on these two as my final ones. What we've ended up with is the two posters and 16 film stills there. So the posters I'd print out in A1 and frame, because I mean A1 would be the minimum size for a movie poster to be printed, really. So they would be that size, and then for the film stills, again, if we were to actually exhibit, I'd lay them out like this, print them 12 by 8, and then frame them 12 by 8 because it's small enough that they could all be put together on a wall like this, and then someone could stand back and view the whole thing on the wall, which I think sort of ties it together nicely to be a storyboard. It's a selection of images telling a story after all. So yeah, and that is it.